Park Municipal Land Use Board meeting of August 17, 2015 to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Wilkinson. Councilman Petrosky.
Here.
Warren Barnes.
Here.
Mr. Nitchie.
Here.
John Stevens.
Here.
John Costello. Absent. John Kennedy.
Here.
Jay Ravenna.
Here.
Paul Monte. Jerry Vitale. Owen Ugerman.
We have a quorum. This time, please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, in case of a fire, please move in a calm and orderly manner to the exits that I'm pointing at. Thank you. At this time, I'm accepting the approval for the minutes of July 20th.
Second.
You gotta remember, we have a new clerk, so we have to say who we are.
Albert Nitchie.
Here.
Jay Ravenna. Second.
John Stevens.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. At this time, I'll accept a motion to have the public portion.
I make a motion to open the public portion.
I second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. At this time, anyone wishing to speak, please come forward and state your name and address. There you go. Yep. Okay.
Rashad Kiersden, 150 Berwyn Street. I am reading this as a proxy for my father, Saul Kiersden, who cannot be here due to a previous commitment. I, Saul Kiersden, request that the Land Use Board seriously reconsider its decision to remove the public comment portion from their meetings. Although it is not legally required, the Land Use Board is more than the absolute application of law. If that were the case, then there would be no use for it. Residents and businesses would never have to approach neighbors to ask in the form of this board, would never have to approach neighbors in the form of this board to ask by way of a variance hearing to go beyond what is written down. But that is why it is here, to hear people out. Additionally, it was mentioned at the last meeting that no other boards in the county allow a general public comment portion, but research has contradicted that position. At least 9 other municipalities in the county allow them. 3 of them surround Roselle Park. And to be clear, these are separate from the public hearing portion of applications. Also, here are some examples of significant comments that were provided just this year to this very board. There was the issue with making certain that all members had filed their financial disclosure statements, which, for the most part, helped those who, at the time, still had not done so. There was always also the question about the review of the master plan. Although the state changed its period of review to every decade, there was still a municipal ordinance that required a review every 6 years. Both of these comments had nothing specifically to do with any application, but were of benefit to the board and thereby the town. In closing, a wise man once said about their government and this board that the governing bodies of any board or town should treat it like a store, and that those officials sitting on the dais do not own the store, the people do. The elected officials are simply minding the store. If you make this decision, you will, in effect, make it your store because this decision is coming solely from the dais, no one else. There has been no outcry from the owners to have the public portion removed from the meeting. I thank you for your attention regarding this matter.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Jacob McGarrett, 612 Sheridan Avenue, Roselle Park. Ladies and gentlemen of the audience, viewing audience, members of the board, Mr. President Harms, good evening. A question. What prompted this thought of doing away with this particular open part of the meeting?
Me.
You?
Yes.
Why?
I just feel there's no need for it. But
Excuse me?
I said I don't think there was a need for it. It's my opinion.
Your opinion.
And I brought it to I'm bringing it to the board. Simple.
And the people's opinion, they feel it is important. One person cannot override the masses of the people. Ladies and gentlemen of the audience, viewing audience, members of the board, Mr. President Harms, good night.
Good night. Anyone else wishing to speak, please come forward.
Eugene Yellen, 226 Sheridan Avenue. I just would like for you to reconsider it, and maybe not make it so official. It can never be. Maybe once every 4 meetings, twice a year, but just not to take it away. If you're taking it away, don't remove people's rights. Just increase them. If it's that much of a hardship, then don't do the job. It's tough sitting up there. Believe me, I know.
Never mind. Okay, I don't respond to somebody telling us if I can't handle the job, okay, then don't do it. That's insulting, and I take that personally. Thank you for your comments.
I'm a
thank
member
you
of the
for your
public, that's
comments.
all. It wasn't meant for you,
Yes,
it
it
was for
was.
the board.
Yes, it was.
Reconsider, don't vote yes to
I-
such a thing. Now,
Okay.
the public deserves more avenues, not less. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak, please come forward. You're right. Absolutely. How's that? Anyone of you on council come say the same thing? You did the job. No, this is crap.
Kimberly Powers, 29 East Clay Avenue. This is the first time I heard about there not being a public portion for the land use board. So,
I just would like to clarify, just
Yeah,
for once,
please
since
do.
it's the first time you've heard it.
Yes.
The conversation or proposal, which hasn't been decided by this board may very well decide against it, or may very well decide something different. That's yet to be determined. Was just a proposal to move from the bylaws the public portion, the standalone public portion, which isn't connected to any of the applications. Typically, a planning board exists to hear applications of residents and store owners and et cetera, to make changes to the code, the zoning ordinance. And that public portion is still intact. That public portion isn't even up for discussion. I don't think there's anything that we can do to that. I haven't done the complete research, but I'll take the statement of the person who spoke here, that of 21 towns within the county of Union, only 9 of them have a separate and important public portion to just discuss everything. Again, it's a decision for the board to make, but I just wanted to clarify for the record that it's not taking away the right of the residents to speak on an application during a hearing or a time like that.
okay, thank you. So, in other words, when you guys are discussing the Sullivan property, there would still be a
That is
public
correct.
portion that people can come up.
That is
Absolutely.
But it's more of a case that you want to remove it if you guys are just talking in general about certain things that really doesn't have to do with the public. You want to remove that portion of it. Is that
That's
what-
the purpose.
is that what you're-
It wasn't even to remove, it was just for consideration is what it was. It wasn't to
Right.
say to remove, because,
But that's really
again,
what-
as the speaker said, that it was not just one person. Absolutely right. And the board has to make the decision.
Right, but that's what you're considering
Yes, ma'am.
removing. It's just like the general. But people from the town, something does come up.
Oh, absolutely.
And like, like I saw the thing, it said somebody's having a pool,
Mhm.
so like people would be able to still kind of talk about pool.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you so much.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank
We're
you.
a planning board, not a forum for public
Right.
opinion.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Carl Pacino, 203 Walnut Street. Good evening.
You-
You guys go through a lot of pressure up there, and I know you all try to do what's best for the town. But when you're sitting up there, a lot of people just have a general question. And a general question deserves a general answer. So basically, that's why the public portion is in effect. Just for, listen, I have a concern, I want to ask you this. And I think that taking away isolates the people's opinion of expressing themselves to you, because now you're just restricting them solely to the application and not to a general concern that they may have that they would like to approach you guys on. Plain and simple. I think you all do a wonderful job. I have the honor and pleasure of sitting with all of you up there. But the fact of the matter is like, if you look at it, when I did code enforcement, I used to tell people, well, what's wrong with my store? Well, why don't you come across the street and look at your store and compare it to the other stores? Your sign's crooked, you didn't sweep up the cigarette butts. So now, maybe you should come out and look at Deus and say, well, if you take that away, what's wrong with it? You've isolated yourselves. And that's what I think people will be upset about the most. You guys are a board, you can decide what you want to do, but that's personally how I feel, that we're here for the public, we should hear what the public has to say, and it's just a plain and simple thing. And I appreciate you giving me the time to get here. And have a great night. And I'm sure you'll make the decision that's best for the town.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing none, I'll accept the motion to close the public portion.
Make a motion to close the public portion.
Do I have a second? John Kennedy, second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. At this time, I would open up to the board discussing the looking at the bylaws for the public portion of the agenda. Any comments? Any suggestions? We've heard from some people in the audience. I also got several calls from residents stating their concern of removing it, listened to it, understood what they were saying, kind of agreed to a point with them. But again, I said I would bring it to the board to find out what they would like to do. And their suggestions were, matter of fact, all of them were suggestions that we would give it a time limit. On how long somebody's up there, because if you have it and somebody's concerned or they have a question, I guess where we go in is that some of the questions might be to where on the planning board, as Mr. Kirsten's son read, based on that, and it's true, he brought it to the attention
of myself about the planning, the master plan. So there are some good things that come out of it. Some of the things that come out of it is that this board has nothing to do with it. And some of the questions that come out is, what are we going to do about a sign across the street or a sign down at Chestnut Street? This board has nothing to do with code enforcement. This board here, as Mr. Nitchie said before, we're here for planning. We're not here to hear the special interest of somebody who needs a sign. That's not our job here. So I guess that's where I might have been going. Okay, and I'll take full responsibility for bringing it up. Not thinking that it would be holding anybody's rights, taking anybody's ability to speak away. This board here has never done that and never will. So with that said, is there any discussion, any suggestions what we might want to do? I do have one if anybody in the board doesn't have any suggestions. And what we'll do with it is that we'll just take a vote on it, and then we'll have to add it to the bylaws in that particular spot, whether it would be a time limit or whatever, it would just be added to that.
Just to continue what I said before, we are a land use planning board. Mr. Germain, to that, it belongs here. If it's not germane to what we do, or our function is, then it doesn't belong here. Because some of the comments we get from the general public don't really fit what we do.
You know, I think the zoning and planning, they are best suited for a forum in front of mayor and council.
Yeah, I mean, some of those other things that have come up, great ideas. They don't belong here. We're not informed for that. Mayor and council is more public. Especially in the American tradition, the town hall meeting. This is not the town hall. This is the planning board. With the town hall, then anybody can get up and say anything they wanted to. But this is not the town hall. So let the lawyer worry about how to phrase that so that we don't have to listen to a lot of things that aren't germane to the planning process.
Yeah, I just think, you know, my opinion is if we think we want to go over time, I think in my opinion that allows someone to state a concern, which we can hear in a short time, but we're not going to be here to debate. We sit, we listen, we give you those few minutes, we hear what your concern is, and then we have it as a takeaway if we need to follow up, not to just go back and forth. You know. So I would be in favor of a time.
Any other?
Yes, I think the public portion is very important because people have concern, they just wanted to come and just express their feelings and thoughts about the project. It's very important. But again, like he said, there's a time limit is very important. And we can just go according to that.
Choosing my words carefully.
We could also table for further discussion.
We could. We could. Yeah. Again, I mean, that's a good point, Al. But I'm not sure where we're going to go if we're not going to get it tonight. You know, 2 more members being here. I would propose this, that if the comments made tonight that this is so important for our residents to be able to speak on something of concern, but again, as Mr. Kennedy said, I'm concerned about people coming up talking about a sign that we have no jurisdiction over. Is not where, this isn't the place to come. This is the place to go into council and bring it to council's thing. So I'm not sure why they're not going to council instead of coming here with it. which they were the ones that control what happens in the municipality, other than what we approve here to variances and changes to codes that we give relief to. I would go along with if we had as we said, a short time for somebody to come forward and give their comment on something that might be coming down, or to stop a rumor, if you want to call it, for something going on. But again, not debating back and forth. If they want to just give their concern on something, that would be, I guess that would be all right in my book. You know, again, I'm only one. No, I don't own the store. Okay, but this store here is put up here to make decisions, okay, for the people who are coming to us. So at some point we have to take some stand on the store that we oversee. So.
Oh, I have another question. Do we have to come to a conclusion today, or we can postpone this to some other time?
Well, we can. I can accept the motion to table. Okay. If we table it, I'd like to know what we're going to table it for. Okay, until when? Meaning, are we going to put a committee together to decide, come up with reasons why we should or shouldn't do what we might want to do? Just to delay it, I just think it's this board's a waste of time, but I mean, we can make a decision whether we're going to allow it or not. It just comes down as simple as that. If we think that the public should be able to speak for X amount of minutes, then so be that. That's fine too.
And it would solely be for commentary, no debate,
That's
no
correct.
question.
No, that's correct. And
Because we wouldn't have the answer.
That's what it would be. So if there are concerns, or as Mr. Kirsten's son has read, where he did bring to our attention that, for his 6-year for the master plan, that's great. That's something informational to us to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do.
And that would be recorded, and that would be reviewed.
And it always is. Everything is recorded here. So again, to table something, you need to have more information on. I'm not sure what more information we would get for it. So I would propose a motion to have a 2-minute time limit on the public portion, and it be. How would you word it to?
Solely commentary.
As far as the limiting, I mean, my position, my opinion is that the public comment portion is just that, a public comment portion. You all retain the right to answer the questions or take the commentary as it is. If it's not germane to the or within the scope of what's done here, you don't have to answer. But I don't think it requires additional language. I think if the motion is just to limit the public comment portion to a certain time period, I think that's the only amendment or change that needs to happen.
If there's no other comments,
I think you're waiting on the second.
Right, but I don't know if I can make the motion yet. Okay. I'll make a motion to have the public portion remain in the bylaws with a 2-minute time limit added to it. Do I have a second?
I'll make a second.
Any other discussion on it? Any other suggestions that we might take into consideration? If not, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky?
Yes.
Lauren Harms?
Yes.
Janichi?
Sure, yes.
John Stevens?
Yes.
John Kennedy?
Yes.
Deravena?
Yes.
That's it. Okay. Motion carries. At this time, we have a resolution to memorialize and the modification to Resolution 2013-005, which, if you remember, last month was the Domus Corporation asking for an extension and also to reduce the senior housing over on Webster Avenue. It was from 5 to 4 and 75 apartments to 60. So I just need a motion to memorialize Resolution 2015 dash, I'm not sure what it would be. No, that's 405, we have that. Okay, all right. We'll put the number there, but it's 2015, and we're asking it to.
It looks like it's a modification to the resolution number 2013-005. Is that accurate?
Yes. But that was the other one. But what we're doing here is we're putting it 2015 because this is a new resolution to change it. So what we're doing is we're putting 2015-something something something slash 2013-005, so we know it goes in cooperation with both ordinances or resolutions. So we'll add that to when we get upstairs tomorrow. We'll add to it. So if I have a motion to accept the, do I have a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll, and the roll. Okay.
Councilman Petrosky?
Yes.
Warren Harms?
Yes.
Litchi?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Remain.
Yes.
Who made the initial motion on that? It was Mr. Ritchie, and there was a second?
We both seconded at the same time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Whoever's going down. You got it down there, okay? Motion carries. On your agenda, we have, under board new business, is McDonald's Corporation, and we received a letter, and in the letter, it says a lot of things, but the most important is that it's asking for an extension on the grounds that it has encountered delays due to environmental issues that are more involved than initially anticipated. McDonald's is continuing its effort to investigate redemption options, develop a cleanup plan, and ultimately proceed with the project. So what they're asking for here, and this board has the right to do it, okay, is to extend it, and they're asking for the extension till October 2016.
October 2016, that's almost like...
That's a little over a year.
Over a
yes,
year.
Yes. They're having the difficulties with the environmental, and they have to come up with a plan, and we all know how much it takes to come up with a plan to clean up environmental, that I personally don't think that this is an extraordinary amount of time that they would need to do this. You know, back in 13, we approved this for them to, and we thought it was a great idea to do it. Yeah, it's been that long, and again, they're asking for this extension because they wish they would have had it done, and kind of says in there, you know, they had plans to do it until they go to the environmental issues.
Did they specify what exactly it is?
No, they didn't get
They didn't
into that.
give us any
That's
information.
really none of our
concern.
Oh, okay, you know what I'm saying, that's up to the environmental, the DEP to come up with what that is and how they're gonna clean it up. So, again, you know what it is to clean up a site that might have some contamination of whatever it might be. You know, so it's gonna take some time for them to do it. So, again, the board has the right, and I would ask for a motion to accept
I
or
make a
approve till October 16th.
I make a motion to extend this to 2016.
Second.
Okay. Any comments? Madam Clerk, will you do a roll call, please?
Councilman Petrowski?
Yes.
Lauren Harms?
Yes.
Albert Vinci? John Stevens?
Yes.
John Kennedy?
Yes.
Mayor Urbana?
Yes.
Motion carries. And I apologize to Madam Clerk. As you can see, she's new. We want to welcome her aboard. She's been on the job for a week, and she has a great job. Great job. She's doing a great job. I do apologize for some things that might have been missed because it was her first week and there was a lot of things going on. So, but she's doing a great job and well done.
Thank you.
Next, we have the variance for 303 Walnut Street. Is the applicant here? Want to come forward, please? Good evening. You state your name, address, and then we'll swear you in, and then you give us your reason.
Okay. Douglas Fiducia, 303 Walnut Street, Roselle Park, New Jersey.
Okay.
Swear you in?
Swear you in.
All right. Do you swear that the testimony that you'll give here will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Tell us why you're here.
I'm here asking for a variance. I'm putting in an in-ground swimming pool. The current variance, since I'm on a corner property, says that I have to be 10 feet from the property line. Because of the small yard that I have and double car garages in the back of it, kind of limits the amount of space that I have. So I'm just asking if I can go closer. Say if I was on my neighbor's side, it would be only 4 feet. Since I'm on the street side, it's 10. So I'm asking if I can bring that down to 5.
It's 10 foot on setbacks inside and rear, correct? Is what the code says, the ordinance says that.
I don't know about the rear of the property, but I'd be very far away from the rear.
Okay, so we're talking the two side yards then?
Yeah, it would just be, I'm significantly away from the neighbor side of the rear of the property, but it's the side that's the street side, closer to East Grant.
Okay.
Or against East Grant.
Any questions from the board?
It would still remain behind the house. Come out and pass the front of the house, so I'll be in the back.
In the back, right. Right.
You know if there's any insurance issues you face being that much closer to the fence?
There was nothing from my New Jersey manufacturers, and there's nothing indicating. As long as I'm within the town, I
You're almost on the street at 5 feet, 3 close.
well, the town's property, from the, I guess you call the street borderline? From the fence? Yeah, from the fence I'd be 4 feet away, but from the fence then to the sidewalk, there's another 3 feet, which is actually the town's property. I said, yeah, I'm the guy.
that section of the yard enclosed? Is there a fence up there already?
There's a 6-foot PVC fence with automatic closing and locking gates. There's 3 gates, all of them automatically close and lock.
Just so I understand, we're gonna look at this picture here.
Yes.
Very nice landscape, very nice. Okay. If I'm looking at this, this is Walnut that I'm looking at, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and over here
That's
is
East Grand.
East Grand. Okay, so over here is where the pool would be.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you would be 4 foot from the fence on Grant.
Correct.
Okay. Now, on this side of Walnut, on the other side of it, I guess it would be the north side. How far would you be away from the fence over this side here? A distance, because you have the two-car garage in the back or whatever it might be?
Yeah, so from the edge of the pool's only 14 feet wide at its longest points.
Okay.
So I would be 30-something feet
Oh,
away.
okay, okay, so you're a distance, so the only area that we're actually talking about is on Grant.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just wanted to kind of picture it a little bit better.
And I wouldn't have to go down to 4 feet. 5 feet kind of gives me enough room for a walkway and space.
You said the pool is 14 feet or 15 feet?
I believe total dimensions are at their longest points, because it's an irregular shaped pool, would be 24 by 14.
24 by 15 it said here.
Oh, then I may be mistaken.
And I see the 5 foot, look like 15 feet here. But okay.
Can you tell us if there's any particular reason why you can't comply with the ordinance?
Reason why I couldn't comply? I probably wouldn't do it if I could. It would just put it like almost in the center of the property in the yard, and that means I would have to move the walkway, and then I would have to put down, take the walkway out, put a new walkway down, which is another variance, but I'd have to go for either surface coverage maybe, or it would be pavers or concrete, so that I would get another, it just wouldn't, it would take up too much of the yard. It would be a lot of wasted space on the outside. With that 10 feet, there's nothing that I would do with it. I probably wouldn't move forward with the pool. I would just let it go. It's just not convenient, I guess, to the way the property's set up, to the back door, to the back gate.
Right, and if I look at this drawing here, okay, you got the academy behind the, I guess that's the academy coming into the garages, right? So to put it back there, you would have any space between the fence and the garages, because it would be right there.
It would be right smack in the middle.
Right there, and you wouldn't have any walkway going around it or anything like that. So
to utilize that 10 feet, I would have to either go all the way around.
right, so you wouldn't be able to clean the pool and all this other good stuff, because you would never be able to get around it. Any other questions?
So you mentioned there's no, you're good on the neighbor side, there's no neighbor variance required, right? It's just for the grant.
It's just for granted.
And you wouldn't have to move the fence or anything like that, the existing fence that's there, the 6-foot vinyl, the PVC? Okay.
I guess only upon construction, the second.
Yeah, it's just,
At this time, I'll ask for a motion to open up the public portion to have any comments on this application.
So moved. Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to speak on this application, please come forward and state your name and address.
Where do I go?
Right up there.
Yeah, you can just speak into the mic. If you can just move over, or just, yeah, there you go. Thank you.
I've been having a little trouble hearing this proceeding. And as far as I can determine, you guys are inquiring about the fencing of the place?
They asked if I would have to remove it.
If you would have to remove the fence?
Yeah.
Right.
First of all, I'd like to say that Doug is a neighbor of mine. He has upgraded that property in the 5 years I've been in town enormously, spent a lot of money on it. He also has a half a dozen crepe myrtle bushes that I really admire. And they're actually out there on the city side, the 10 feet inside. But he's also got a string of spruce, is it? The tall, in the front, on the side.
One's on cherries.
What are they?
Arborvitaes, and then in the front, one's on cherry.
Oh, arborvitae.
Arborvitaes, yeah.
And then ornamental fruit trees in the front.
Before you go on, I don't mean to cut you. Can I have your name and address?
You want my name?
Your name, yes, just for the record.
It's Raymond Connolly.
Okay.
And I reside at 309 Walnut Street.
Thank you. And one more question, Mr. Connolly. Do you swear that the testimony that you'll give here is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Looking at, I went today to stop by to look at the plot and the diagrams, but they don't really tell the story of actually where the pool is going to settle. So I assume it's behind a 6-foot-high plastic fence, and the entire property is fenced in. So if you're concerned about children or something like that wandering into the pool area, it's not going to happen. And the way Doug upkeeps his property, I know it's not going to happen. I think he's the best resident we have on that block. I admire his activities and concerning the property. Now the pool, I just learned today from you guys that the city has a setback of 10 feet from the curb.
It's called the utility easement. It's called a utility easement.
And does that create a property line? It's not clear in my mind where the property line begins.
From the curb going in towards the buildings is a 10-foot right-of-way. And it's called the utility right-of-way, is what it is. Although we maintain it, but the utility companies have the right to go into that particular area. That's why you'll find your shut-offs to your water mains, or your water services, your gas shut-offs, your telephone poles, all that stuff is in that particular area there. That's all that is.
Well, Doug is not infringing on that at all.
No, he couldn't.
I know, what's the length of the pool? I don't know.
24 by 14, but they have down the papers it's 15, so I may be correct.
24 by 14. Well, that doesn't, it covers about half of that yard. Yeah, about half of that yard.
What's there though, like I said, there's a garage there as well, so.
Yeah, it's completely enclosed. I don't know, what else are you folks?
That's it. All we ask for is anybody who wants to come to speak against or for it is welcome, and you've done that. We thank you for your comments.
I can also speak for 2 other neighbors who we discussed this, and they're not free to come tonight. Right. Both the Benitos and then Rudy, the neighbor further, I guess it's around 3. I don't know the numbers of the houses. One is 315, one is about 317, I guess. And they're in agreement that whatever Doug wants, Doug ought to get. So, that's the spirit of the neighborhood.
That's good. That's good. Okay. We thank you for your comments. Thank you. Is there well, we'll see. We'll see. Is there anybody else wishing to speak on this application? Seeing none, we'll ask for a motion to close the public portion to this application.
I'll make a motion to close the public portion.
I second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. At this point, unless you have something else to say, I'm going to put it up for a vote. So if you have anything else to say.
One other thing, the fence that comes in is 6 inches off my property line that comes into my property. So I gave another 6 inches, just so there wouldn't be any issues.
Any children on the property? Do you have any children?
Yeah, working on it.
All right. That was the same one of the concerns.
That's why he's getting pool.
But if children do come into the picture in the future, would you erect a small fence or something to make sure that there are some measures to keep them from? At least with an above ground pool, you've got the ladder that you can flip up and ladder it up, and in ground, and it's completely open.
I would think that would come up to the homeowner to protect their own children.
Just maybe at least a thought.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about putting up a 3-foot fence or something, just to keep it, when you have kids, to keep it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's something I consider. I'm more concerned about having the kids first.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
For the safety of the kids, right?
Safety of kids, yes. I'm a nurse, so I'm all about safety. I'm sure that.
I mean, you know, our responsibility is to make sure that you have a fence to keep the outsiders out. Basically what it is. Insurance companies ask for everybody to keep the outsiders out, not the insiders. You know, they're in there. But
I have a 5-year-old daughter, and she'd go.
No, I'm not disagreeing because we've had some injuries in with the above ground pools. But anyhow, that would be up to the homeowner to do whatever they want to do. I can't, at this board, we can't enforce that to take place. That's something.
Just something to consider.
Sure. At this time, there's no other comments. I'll accept the motion to either accept or reject the applicant.
I make a motion to accept.
Second.
Second,
Yeah, we got first and second. Any other comments on it? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you. Councilman Petrowski?
Yes.
Lauren Harms?
Yes?
Al Nitchi?
Yes.
John Stevens?
Yes.
Sean Kennedy?
Yes.
Jay Urbana?
Yes.
Motion carries. Remember, you have to get all the permits. Anything that has to get done with that before you do it, you got to wait 45 days before you can apply for the permits, because we have to memorialize it in September.
Okay.
Okay, so once it's memorialized, then you can go with the procedure. I know the summer's over.
I've been working on it since April. So.
Oh, okay. Yes, I guess another year won't hurt you with that. But that's what has to get done.
45 days. Okay.
Yeah. Well, when it gets memorialized next meeting, and the next meeting is September 21st.
Okay.
Okay. So
Do I have to be present for that?
No. You'll receive a letter in the mail from the clerk stating that it's memorialized. It's just for somebody if they want to come forward at that time to question it or whatever. They just have the opportunity for them to come forward.
Okay. Thank you very much.
It's all yours. Thank you, and good luck with your
Don't
pool.
swim in one.
Yeah, right.
In some township, this period is called a cooling period. Is that right? This is 1 month time that you memorize and you take before. Some townships called a cooling period.
Well, call it as you wish. It's the law says you have to have it memorialized. You can't memorialize it right now. There is an opportunity for people to come forward to make statements on how they don't want it. I mean, the neighbors right now.
I've been told that this is called a cooling period from now to 1 month.
I don't know what I don't. I mean, to me, when you say a cooling period, is that somebody's out there was.
That's okay. Never mind.
No, I'm saying, John, I don't know when you say that. I mean, I've never heard it that way. The only thing I'm saying is that we've always called it to where it's just the time period that they can't get the permits. They really shouldn't do any work. They can get the permits, but again, you're taking a chance of getting it before we get something. Other than that, I'm not sure what else to call it.
Doesn't matter. I just asked you for some.
Okay, yeah, I've never heard of it anyhow. Is there anything you would like to bring? None? Our next meeting is September 21st. As of right now, we have one. which is the Sullivan's properties. Just to update you, at the last, I guess was it June meeting, we had the hearing on that. The committee is going to meet on August 31st with Mr. Garcia to go over which is the landscaping and the signs. So hopefully that'll go well. Other than that, anybody have anything? At this time, I'll accept the motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Second. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.